Hey, yo. Hey, what's up? Hey, everybody, Pete here from Hath. I'm joined with Tyler Capone-Vitale. There he is. From Cognitive. Tyler, say something. Hi. Introduce yourself.
Good morning.
Who are you?
Hi. I was just rocking out to the song The Call by Cognitive, which is a band I'm in.
Oh, is that your band?
Yeah, nice shirt, dude.
Oh.
Where'd you get it?
It was free. Some guy gave it to me because I played a show with them. He was like, can I have one of your shirts? I was like, it's $20 and you have to give me one of your shirts because ours is better than yours. And he was like, fine. Real tall, skinny guy. Bald, wears glasses, loves camo. Maybe you know him?
Never heard of him, but sounds cool. Sounds
Yeah.
like a cool guy. That's not here right now.
No, definitely not here right now. Not cool enough to hang out. Yeah, we're hanging. The hanging streams are coming back. I love this move.
Rocking out, dude.
You're the first one in like, I don't know, what, 3 months? It was my goal to do this once a month, like a little personal challenge. And then we had to go on tour and everything around that happened, and so
You broke
now
it.
it's back. It's back. I'm happy to have you as the first one back. It's gonna be a fun
Oh,
hangout.
what a guy.
Yeah.
It's gonna
So-
be sick. Yeah, I have about like 3 minutes that we can hang out, and then I gotta go hang out with Pete Brown from Hath on Twitch, so.
Fair.
Um,
All right. Well, I mean, twitch.tv/what? Pete Brown from Hath? Is that it? No?
I don't know,
You have no
dude.
idea.
I have no clue.
All right. That's fair enough. Yeah, so chat, if you have any questions for Tyler, you can throw them in the chat. Maybe he'll answer them. He seems like a nice guy. Some would argue the best guy, at least the best guy in Cognitive. Some else would argue a chum.
Top 5 in Cognitive. Easy.
Definitely in the top 5. Best bassist in Cognitive.
I
Active bassist. Best active bassist in
was
Cognitive.
gonna say, Shane's been getting pretty good at bass.
Oh. Uh-oh.
So,
Is there a little drama in Camp Cog?
no
Come-
for his solo stuff, but
Gonna
Shane can play bass anytime. I won't do vocals, I'll just hang out
I mean,
on
that's
stage.
You could be like the hype guy. So that's one thing I want to talk about too, are your stage moves. Because not knocking anyone else in the band. I'll knock AJ. I'm allowed to do that legally.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, we share a drummer named AJ Vienna.
Yep. I had him, and then we licensed him out to you. You
Not
guys
a
are
big deal.
No, especially we didn't know beforehand how slow Rob is to pay his licensing bills. We're like 3 years
I don't think
behind.
he's paid one yet.
No, he hasn't. But let's jump into that stage moves.
Mm.
This in particular, I feel like you got the entire tour package doing that in the span of 3 days.
Well, my secret to my whatever you want to call it, moves or just dumb jokes is if you do them enough, people will either start doing them too out of just like brainwash, repeating, or no one will do it, and then I'll go, okay, I guess it's not funny or cool.
I mean,
So-
you were batting at least close to 1,000 on tour, because you had this one, you had the fanny pack, and you were rocking the fanny pack every day, and especially after Inoculation jumped on, I think everyone got into the fanny pack at that point. Frank broke out a fanny pack. The Inoculation boys were comparing fanny packs. There's a lot of fanny pack
We did a
talk.
fanny pack tour in Detroit.
Yeah.
It was
a
like a MTV Cribs, but it was a cognitive fanny pack tour.
Yeah.
That was great. Well, Frank had his fanny pack
I
and
think he
wasn't
was-
really wearing it.
Yeah, I think he was maybe a little self-conscious about the fanny pack until you stepped in and you were like, no, there's a reason we're wearing this. It's sick and it's functional. And you gave him the confidence to fully commit to the fanny pack.
He's got to do it. Everybody has to do it. It's not a shoulder pack for those that wear it on your shoulder. It's obviously your choice. It's your pack. It's your life. But it's just like so much cooler wearing it where it belongs. And especially in death metal, like you can't be like serious mean guy all the time. So having a multicolored fanny pack and going like this, it's
like
just
this.
like this.
I love that move. That's a great move.
I'm trying to think where I got it, because I didn't do it until Cognitive. I think just some of the slams they just have that, shrug your shoulder, back and forth type thing. And I don't really like to stand still at all, so I like to be at least moving something while I play. And that's an easy one to not headbang or windmill or point. That's an easy one to still, like, I feel like if you move, the crowd is more likely to move. And that's one that, again, it's easy. It's like, okay, I could take a break. But also, it's just like, I don't always plan it out. I don't really have parts that I plan to do that move because it's easy. But it's a little bit inspired by, I'm going to shout out to Mr. Ryan Phelps from Summoning the Lich, who does this backwards walk that I still haven't mastered, but I've been trying to do the sway,
just like
kind of
groove
into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the sway came from. I've definitely seen it. I know dudes do it, but it just overtakes me, and it just, it's one of those things.
I feel like stage moves, especially like that, are an underappreciated and lost art in a lot of ways. Like, it's something I like consciously work on.
Yeah,
it's like
dude.
I think about like
tell.
It's like what parts in the song are way too hard for me and I have to like actually concentrate what I'm playing, and what parts like I don't really care if I screw this up a little bit. Like, it's more fun to move around and like get people into it. You're absolutely right. Like when you're moving, if you're looking at a crowd of people like standing 20 feet back with their arms folded or arms crossed, like if you start moving, one or two might start moving into it. But if you're just standing there like, I gotta concentrate on playing guitar, no one's gonna get into it.
Yeah, it's a balance, and I might have talked to you about this. I've told like 1,000 people this in the last couple months, so anyone who's heard this, I'm sorry, but
wow, not exclusive.
Listen, you got to share the knowledge with the world, with this 69 million people watching on Twitch.tv right now.
Exactly, a lot of us.
So just a few years ago, we got about 12 minutes into the stream, and now we're talking about Iron Maiden, so a little longer than I thought. But not Live After Death, Flight 666, for Rock Band, they had the DLC. You could buy like 10 songs live performed by them. And then eventually that got to, on YouTube, you can look up like any of those songs, any instrument soloed, because they recorded it live. And then there's some kind of program. It's easy to pick out each instrument or input, whatever. So I listened to Steve Harris's bass part soloed, and it sounded kind of bad. And I was like, what? I like had this crisis of like, is he not that good? What's the deal? Like, is it really him? Is it fake? And then I realized he is kind of sloppy live, but from the many times I've seen them, from all the DVDs I've seen, you can't tell. A, you can't really tell in the mix, but B, you don't think, even if you do hear him mess up, you don't think about it. Like, you remember what you saw, or you remember how the whole song sounded. But so I kind of took that as like, okay, like you said, for the really hard parts, I gotta try to nail them. But then for anything else, it's like, I think the chances of somebody leaving a show and going, wow, that bassist played every note perfectly right but stood still, or, oh, that guy like moved around a lot and had a great time. I think they're going to remember that I moved around a lot, or that somebody moved around a lot and had fun, and probably not even hear the mistakes because they don't know the songs like you do. They can't hear the mix like you can.
No, there's
So,
so many things working against you. Like the sound guy who's working that night, the room you're in, how good the PA is.
you can't like. It is a balance. You don't want to go up there and suck too much anyway. But you gotta try to look cool. I think because people are gonna remember that. They're gonna remember like that's when we play shows like the local bands that open the show or whenever I just go to a show. If people look cool on stage or they're trying, that's what I remember. You know, it's like even if I don't like the music or something, I'm like, well, that dude or that chick killed it on stage, and that's usually what sticks with me. So after hearing Steve's sloppy bass, but then never noticing the hundreds of songs I've heard live that he played like that,
Yeah.
it occurred to me like it's more important to put on a performance and a show rather than sit there and focus on hitting every note perfectly every time, every night. But it is still important to play the songs well because that is what you're there for. But playing a show is a performance as much as it's a performance physically and musically.
Yeah.
It's about the same.
That's a good point. Like, I think that gets lost in a lot of like discussion or conversation around bands. Is you're still going to a show to be entertained. You know, the best of the best kind of bands who play the most technical, insane music. Yeah, I feel like they can get away with just standing there because physically they can't do anything else. It's taking all of their brain power to hit like 30 notes a second or something like that. Whatever insane speed it is. But they're kind of like the lottery winners in that regard. But then also too with Steve Harris, I mean, he's got Janik right next to him, throwing his guitar up in the air.
Yeah. He's muted his channel's muted most of the time anyway. They're like, all right, Adrian and Dave are like, all right, what solos can we give Yannick? And he kills it. And then unless they have like an acoustic guitar part going on, one of them is muted at all times. There's no way, and I know it because you can see in the videos where he's going like running on his. And
he's
like,
spinning it over his arm and pulling it back.
I don't hear any of that. There would be all kinds of shitty noises coming through, but it's cool. It's like that's part of the performance.
Yeah.
It's like so any little thing I can steal from them, which is pretty much everything, I do, and not necessarily my moves. I did try to do on the last tour. I found a couple parts where I could do the Steve Harris point.
Yeah, you had that like that rifle gun part in one of the breakdowns.
Yeah, when I shoot. Yeah, that's from. I've seen a lot of guys do that. Steve doesn't really do that. But yeah, like as we play this, I'll take it. Anyone in the chat who's done that before me? No, you didn't. So.
No, you didn't. You're liars, all of you.
It's like. You just have to like win the crowd over when you're up there every night and playing to 10 people or 100 people, and even though it was a headliner tour, it's like I don't know what percentage, but a ton of people that came out overall didn't know us or hear of us. People are just like, oh, a metal show, or they're there for the local, or they're there for you guys, or whatever. So regardless of the show, I like to try. I gotta win people over, and it's more fun that way. Like we can get into this later, but when I hurt my foot, in a very intelligent, cool way, smart man way, that first show that night, the next night in Indianapolis, or no, first Indiana City.
We were in Richmond the night it happened.
And then we played Richmond that next day, right? Because we drove from Columbus.
Right. Yeah, we
pulled
Richmond
in
super late, and you guys were all like hot tub party.
Hot tub party. So that next day at that show, I couldn't move at all because I was just like in so much pain, and it sucked. And now I played really clean. Actually, I remember being like, "Damn, that was really good," but I couldn't move, and it was like I didn't enjoy it, but I did. It gave me the other side of like, okay, there is a balance. So maybe going forward, I can see like, okay, what is the balance? But then as soon as I felt fine again, I was back to just rocking out, not paying attention. But as I've played a lot of these songs so many times, I'm learning what parts I can do more or cooler or different stage moves. Because some of these songs, I've only been in the band 3 years, but like Haunted Justice, I think we've played every show I've ever played. I love the song, but it's like, all right, I've played this so many times that I could like probably swing my bass around over like the whole song and just like still be fine. Like,
Yeah.
so. But the people in the crowd haven't heard the song 100 times either, so you gotta balance it.
I mean, that's a weird balancing act too. It's like, you guys just dropped a new album. Well, I guess it's almost a year old now. Is it a year old?
Almost July.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'll say you just dropped it because it came out in a weird time. But you've played. I mean, you're the newest Cognitive member. Yeah. Or is AJ the newest?
AJ beat me by like a week or two, I think, a couple weeks.
But you've played more shows with them than he has. But regardless, you've played Haunted Justice how many dozens of times now? Imagine like Rob and Harry, like how many times they've played it. And it's that weird balancing act of like, do we want to keep playing this because it's a good song, because we like it, because no one's heard it, and like that's the song, or do we move on to the new stuff?
That's the song. Yeah, I don't usually help build the set lists. It was cool that the Philly show that got canceled, the one that was supposed to be in December with Merciless Concept and Friends. I think Tombstoner and Merciless Concept. We did build that set list. Like, we each basically picked 2 songs that we wanted to play, each band member, and then it got canceled. But for tours, generally Rob is the guy, and he will ask for suggestions. Usually Rob and Shane are the 2 that will pick, I would say, most of the set, and I just trust them to do it. Rob in the way that he knows like the tour package, like he knows what those bands sound like mostly in and out, and then will suggest our songs to fit. And then Shane as well. Like, it's just those 2 generally pick, and I'm fine with it because I'm the least death metal guy in town, and it's especially in the band. So, but you gotta, like, since the album is still fresh, it's like you gotta do a balance of new and old, and then that balance can shift. But you can't play all, in my opinion, unless you're doing an album tour for a band our level, which is rare. You shouldn't do all new, because we do have people coming out that know us, and that want to hear Haunted Justice or Birth and Deformity. So, and those songs are just like, even though I've played them a lot, they bang. They're fun. Especially like Philly shows, like, a lot of those people want to hear the old stuff, and rock out to it.
I mean,
but
especially
like,
Philly too. There have been people coming out to see Cognitive since what, like 2012, 2011?
Yeah, the band formed in 2012 officially, I believe, and yeah, there's a ton of day ones. I am not a day one. I hate to admit it. I'm like a day 200 or something. I probably
Better late than never.
Yeah. I think yeah, I don't know what year, because I didn't really start playing metal shows until like 2012, but then didn't get into, like, we weren't playing. I think the first time I saw Cognitive was probably when we opened for them, so probably like 2013 or 14, and then from there. But yeah, like, people love to hear the songs that they know, and that the hearing them develop over the years, because the band has morphed a lot since then, and I think if nothing else, it's like interesting to hear Like, I would love to see a supercut of like Haunted from like the first lineup. Obviously, that's not a different album. It wasn't like it was on Deformity, but
Yeah.
an old song or that song from, with different lineups, just to hear the difference, because it would be really cool to hear that. Everybody put their different flair on stuff. Just how it's changed over the years, and even the people that have been in the band, if they play it slightly differently, or I'm sure Shane doesn't sing it the same way that he did when he first joined. Obviously,
I mean, yeah, with Shane, I feel like we get to see that more, because at this point, he and Jarrell, the old singer, they're like equal number of albums, right? So you guys are still doing a good amount of songs that Jarrell sang on, and Shane, I've heard spices it up. Like, Shane does way more high and mid screaming, whereas Jarrell did like some like really deep gutturals. Shane doesn't do that as much, and he's been experimenting more. So along those lines, being the new guy, having to learn the old stuff, do you try and play it like verbatim, or do you put your own spice on it?
Yeah, so this is funny because you saw Ian at the last show on the tour, at Harrisburg, and it was so great to see him. And I had been wanting, I think that's the first time he's seen Cognitive since I've joined, and I've been wanting him to come to a show so he could, I want his opinion. And he did tell me there were 2 parts that I played differently than him. And then he showed me how to do it, which was cool. I tried to learn verbatim because I respect the hell out of Ian and his parts. Some of it was hard because there weren't bass tabs. And shout out to my friend Chemina, who, when I filled in for Cognitive the first time, literally saved the day, because he helped me. He 95% tabbed out all the songs for that first tour set list by ear for bass, because Rob had given me guitar tabs that were made on Notepad or something. And they were right, they're correct. But I'm a guitar pro addict, so I needed it on there. And Chem is really good with that. And yeah, there were no bass tabs, so Chem listened to the studio songs by ear, not the isolated bass. I don't know how he did it, and he was mostly right on everything.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, so thanks to him, I was able to learn the stuff in time. But yeah, I tried my best to learn everything verbatim. And like I said, there were 2 parts that were different from Ian's bass parts. And then when we play old stuff like pre-Ian, I don't even know. I think Rob played bass on the first EP or the self-titled album. And I believe a gentleman named Art played bass on the one that Rob didn't, I think.
I'm trying to remember who played bass way back in the day, and
Elijah from Dark Water's End played bass for a few shows, he said, or maybe a year or so, which we were talking about at the last show we played together with my other band, which was just great, because I think Rob told me, I was like, what? I didn't even know Elijah played bass. This was long time ago. But yeah, I try to learn verbatim, and then here and there I'll throw in little slides. But I don't like to change what's done, because I feel like some people come to a show with an expectation. If they wanted to hear our stuff, they listen to it on Spotify or whatever, and they're like, I know bass isn't the loudest and it's whatever, but I like to, kind of perform how they might expect it. Mm-hmm. For my own songs, I pretty much play how they are on the record, but they're also fresh. I wrote it, and I don't feel the need to flare anything up at all. But yeah, I try to respect Ian's bass parts and the previous bass parts, except the ones Rob recorded back in the day.
It's just following the root note, plucking along on a quarter note.
That's a joke, because he actually fun fact, wrote the bass part for the mall, but it was so perfect. I don't think I changed anything. I think
Wow.
I kept the whole thing how he wrote it because it was just, I thought it fit so well. So don't tell him that he wrote a good bass part, Pete,
I
or
won't.
anybody else, because we don't need him
I won't.
walking around all confident about that.
This is a Hath Twitch PSA. If you ever see Rob Wharton, only make fun of him. Never compliment him. His ego is too fragile in the way that any compliments will make it way too big, and his head will explode. So for his own safety, don't compliment Rob.
You have to protect the neck.
Yeah.
That's the whole Jersey scene right there. We need to protect them.
Yep. Protect him from himself.
That's it.
So
Old Throb Wharton.
the slam paw.
Slampaw, our old TM. Well, Slampaw met the OG Slampaw when we toured with Cranium, because Matt's, the guitar player of Cranium, is considered by a lot of the slam world to be Slampaw as well.
Really?
So I think Rob was okay with Matt's having that title.
Being the younger slam paw in the group.
Being the younger, newer Slampaw, yeah. And sometimes you just gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
When I meet another long-haired fanny pack wearing, Steve Harris worshipping death metal bass player that does this, that's older than me, he's the new Tyler. He's the OG one. I'm the imposter at that point.
We won't be allowed to do this anymore.
No, I can't. So for now, I'm gonna do it as much as I can.
Yeah, enjoy it while you can, because one day it might be gone.
You won't be like it'll be a snowball effect. Like I can't do it, and then you guys will slowly you'll forget how to do it. Like it won't be like a conscious.
We won't feel confident and comfortable doing it, because like it's most fun when we do it with you.
The group activity.
Yeah. Like playing.
Like to force it onto people. Like go walk up to the merge table, make eye contact, and then you're just like, oh god, I have it's like compelling me. Like it's. I can't help myself. I have to do this dumbass.
It's not dumb. It's the best.
And you can edit it. Like you could be like, revving the motorcycle.
Yep.
What did I say to Harry?
If you're celebrating, you can go like this.
There was one of the locals was playing, and I said this lawnmower starting ass riff. It was a sick riff, but it was like one of those.
Oh yeah. You're not synced up. One arm's further back.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta pull it, the old-fashioned ripcord.
When we got home from tour, I didn't realize I was doing it one day. Like the day after we got home, I was standing in my living room. My wife's sitting on the couch, and I'm just like thinking of something. And while I'm thinking, I'm like, she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "Oh."
Like it's normal.
Yeah.
I guess it's not normal. I don't know.
Like, I've been doing this every day for the last 3 weeks, like all day, every day for 3 weeks. I didn't realize I was doing it.
Sorry, honey. You really don't know me.
No, not anymore. Things happen on tour.
You're a changed man. She encourages it by buying you that sick-ass guitar.
I know, it's her fault. She keeps enabling me. This room is just filled with enablement.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to, like, walk in that room and go, yeah, I'm not going to do the move today. I'm just not. Like, no, look at it.
Right. You can't avoid the move in this room, at the very least.
Too many pointy guitars for that.
Not enough pointy guitars, if you ask me. We can get a few more.
I need more. That's why I'm...
Are you going to get a pointy bass?
I reached out to a place that makes a very cool pointy guitar and said, do you make this in a bass? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, let me know if you do. They're like, yeah, we're considering it. So maybe. And then Tony from Inoculation builds those Xeno guitars.
Yep, those are pointy.
They're pointy and they're sick and they sound cool. And
he and Nick of Inoculation are building one for Nick right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh good. Yeah, because like their old bass player had one, because I saw pictures. I was like, oh shit, I can't wait to like, I want to try that bass out. And then Nick had mentioned that that was the old bass player that had one. But I did get to play as Kelly, which is so sick. I want a Kelly really badly,
It's
but they
pretty
don't
pointy.
make 5 strings.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
no.
pointy, dude. No. As far as I know, maybe there's a limited run of them somewhere.
Maybe you can find like a like early '90s Charvel Kelly with like the points.
Yeah, like I could get a 4-string, but none of the like I want to use it in cognitive or my other. Like I feel this might be a point of contention, but I do feel like sometimes your instrument maybe should fit the music, and only in the way of like my one band is like fusion prog rocky. If I'm playing a pointy ass bass, it's like I don't know. I think it kind of is distracting. It's like
No,
you could do
I get
like
that.
I don't know.
I mean, I have 2 Strandbergs behind me, and they were my main guitars for years. And like I played, I don't know how many shows with them. I did a tour with them where it was like my main guitar, and I didn't realize it until we played a show where we opened for Nile, and there was like a photographer there. Took photos, really nice edits, sent them to us, and the whole time I'm going through those photos, the only thing I'm thinking of is that guitar looks so small on me. Like it looks like I'm wearing a ukulele.
Oh my god. Dude, sometimes I mean,
Yeah, sometimes it's just like I love the Strandbergs. I play them all the time at home. Probably not gonna play them at a show anymore because I look like a giant playing a tiny little baby guitar.
just get a Strandberg bass.
I need a guitar with a big enough body to cover my ever-growing gut. And Strandberg,
That's just age.
yeah. So
Unless you spend 1 billion hours in the gym, that's just
I've-
gonna happen.
yeah, so that Warrior back there, I think I bought myself some time. I'm a little bit future-proofed.
Nice. Yeah, dude, and I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I see it more the other way of like pointy instruments in non-heavy music.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with it. Just to me, is a little distracting. So I don't want to do it.
If I was playing in like a dad rock cover band, playing that Flying V while playing like Creedence Clearwater Revival, it would look pretty goofy.
Yeah. I mean, do your thing. But so I'm looking for like a 5-string, and I'm about to have another Sandberg made. So like, it's not an immediate. It's just like a one day. That's what I was telling Tony. Like, I was like, I have this dream bass, and I showed him the like what it looks like. It's by this company called Killer, which is sick.
Killer.
Japanese
familiar with
company. It's called the Killer Impulse, and the bassist, I saw it through the bassist of X Japan. It's pointy, it's cool, and there's a 4 and a 5-string version, and there's also like a Squire version in the 4-string where it's not. It's like the lower,
Oh, okay. Like
build.
the production model, not the pro model.
Yeah, so they have a production model in the 4-string, and then they have the pro model 4-string, and then they have the pro model 5-string. But I guess they're so rare that they are like $8,000 anywhere, and I'm not paying that.
No.
So I was like, dude, if you someday, I was like, I don't want to get you excited because I don't know when this would be, but like someday, if you're able to or down to make a body that looks like this, then that would be sick because I really want that bass. And again, it's pointy. I don't want to use it. I only want to really use it in a metal band and just to have, but it's got to be a 5-string, and they don't make like production level 5-strings, and they're too expensive. So
I feel you on that.
that would be a pointy bass. Unfortunately, Sandberg doesn't really make pointy basses because they're not the most metal company, which is cool. It's cool in a way because I'm more of a P bass guy. Like if I had to pick just a bass to be an all-around, like, you know, it would be a P base. So they make great P bases, which is my next one. My current one is not a P base, but it's kind of similar
It's got
in shape.
a little bit of a P-base body. It doesn't have that pick guard though.
It's like a shortened P base. Like, it's not as long as your typical. But yeah, like the horns on it are kind of almost the same. And yeah, I actually, my next base is going to be a P-base copy, but it's not going to have a pick guard because I have the art. I want to have a full body artwork on it. But I do need more pointy bases. I only have one, and it kind of hurts to not have more.
What's the art? Can you dish?
Oh, well, it's a custom job. It's like my friend Chris, Chris Perusnik. He, I went to him because he's sick at just art in general, but I knew that. So at the beginning, I wanted a Keith Haring artwork base. So like the pop artist from like the '90s does shit like this. Well, this is one of his.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So like all over the place back in the day, and I wanted a base with just like his artwork on it, but that's like you need to get the rights to it, yada yada. So I emailed his foundation. They didn't get back to me. So I was like, I don't want to risk it, you know, get in trouble or something. So I asked him to make me a design that's inspired by his artwork and the John Petrucci Picasso Ibanez from the '90s.
Yeah. That's cool.
So he did just that, and it's amazing. And I am literally on the last steps with my rep of getting it built. I pretty much just have to send him the specs for the rest of it. The artwork took the longest, like, not just Chris doing it, but, you know, like, is it going to be screen printed or whatever printed on there by a machine, or is the airbrush artist going to do it? And all those, like, technicalities. So we finally figured it all out. So I'm probably a few weeks away from getting that started, and then a few months away from having it.
Oof.
So that'll be cool. Finally have a P base from them. The base I have now is a custom design, but they had done something like it before. I think one other base. So this will be my first like completely like mine.
Nice.
Made by Chris.
That's sick.
Base. Yeah, I'm so stoked. I want to like share the design so bad, but I want to wait. It's better to just wait until the whole base is donezo for that.
Fine.
I know.
You say so.
I could show you. I was showing people on the tour. I guess I didn't get to show you.
I guess we didn't bro down enough. We didn't bro down hard enough.
No, dude. It's kind of a sad day. I think we should just do another tour, just to hang out more. You free next week?
Probably. Yeah, I can make time.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll hang.
We'll get it going.
We'll
go. I'll play anywhere.
By the way, Norse Truth in chat says, dropping in a bit late. Looking forward to seeing Cognitive in Ottawa next month.
Hell yeah. Come say hi at the merch table, please. That's going to be fun. That'll be that'll be my 4th tour in Canada, but I think Cognitive's 4th as well. But there was one that I didn't do, I think. And I did one with another band. I love playing Canada. It is always great. We're mainly sticking to Eastern Canada. It's not East Coast, but like, yeah, Ontario, Quebec. I forget if Windsor is in. I think that's in a different province. But we're heading as far west as Windsor, and then as far east as maybe Quebec City, maybe a little further.
Pretty far north.
Yeah. It seems, just from playing shows there, it seems like there is a cutoff of how north. I don't know if there are no major cities once you get to like the top 2/3 of the country. I need to be looking at a map, but Yeah, it's like I've done a full Canadian tour, and we did not go like too far up. I think
Yeah.
Halifax was the farthest north and east, which was right on the coast, and it was beautiful. But
I feel like I remember hearing a stat somewhere that something insane like 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the US border. It's like everyone is just on that like lower line of the country, and the further north you go, it's mostly like mining and logging towns. But like they're very sparsely populated.
I believe that if you look at the country on a map, there's so much water, like just like lakes, and just like the land is so broken up with water that you probably can't you can't build any major stuff. And then I haven't been that far north, but I imagine it just gets to be like Alaska at some point where it's mostly
Yeah.
wooded
Probably.
area,
Who knows?
mountainy and snowy, and it's just like, who wants to build a city up there? I don't know.
All this undiscovered, unclaimed land.
We could be the first.
You could be the first death metal band to play there.
We'll call it HASTENED. You guys can have some of it. I don't
Alright.
mind sharing.
I mean, who's opening? We've opened for you guys.
We're gonna do every other song.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll just backline and we share a drummer, so it's fine.
Yeah, we'll just, you guys, well, I guess who's opening? We'll do a big four type thing where we'll all play a song together. We'll play an Opeth song, even though Shane doesn't fuck with Opeth that much.
I mean,
Hate to say it.
Frank can do the screaming. Shane's been working a lot on his clean singing. He can do the clean singing parts.
That sounds good. Because we all love Opeth, except Shane. But I know he's tried.
Yeah.
He says the sick parts are sick, it's just they're too long, which I get.
That's fair. That's fair. At least he tried. If he didn't try, we'd have to kick him out of Cognitive, which would be unfortunate.
That's true, and the reason I'm kicking Sanjay out of Cognitive, even though he was never in it, is because he said he didn't care about Opeth when we stayed with him. Now that's a big no-no. You can't. He said, "Yeah, I just don't care." It's like you can't say that, Sanjay. Like, I'm gonna take your slam card away.
Yeah.
Not that Opeth is slam, but you have to hit him where it hurts.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. He's not allowed to have any Facebook cred anymore.
Yeah,
Let's kick him out of bands he's not in. He's not in Equipoise anymore either.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. Let's
You
kick
can
him out
have
of bands he's
Wormhole.
in and not in. Out of Wormhole, out of Equipoise.
Terrible what happened to Sanjay.
He's out of the other band that him and Matt are in.
Grey
I don't know if they
Lotus.
still do stuff. Well, no, there's another one. I know they're still doing stuff.
Oh my God,
I'm trying to remember.
he's
Perihelion. He's out of Perihelion. That's a
kicked out
deep
of
cut.
so many bands. Wow.
Yeah, he's done.
This is terrible for him.
He's absolutely done. I'm sick of him.
Let's talk gear. We started talking guitars.
No. Just kidding.
So on tour, you went like line in every night, just DI. Are you not a gear guy?
I'll preface this with I'm not a gear guy because I don't know anything about gear, but I did go DI on this tour out of necessity. I am having a cab built by, I guess I can, Arachnid Cabinets. Arachnid. So,
I like priding myself on knowing a lot of boutique producers, and you've dropped two on me tonight I've never heard of.
boom. I'm just throwing you for a loop.
My night's ruined.
I made a post on Facebook asking for a local company that makes cabs, and there are a few, but some are defunct, some more focused on guitar. So somebody tagged Arachnid Cabs, and this gentleman Robert reached out to me, and turns out he owns Arachnid. He at least has a major hand in building all their stuff. I think it's him and maybe one other guy. But he reached out and answered every question I had. He was so helpful. He was the only one that actually messaged me. A ton of people got tagged. A ton of companies got tagged. He was the only one that got tagged that messaged me and answered all my dumb questions because I know nothing about most gear, but especially amps and the electronics that go into them. I know nothing. So
I get that. I still don't understand how ohms work.
There's 4 of them or 8 of them or 16 of them.
Sometimes 16, and you can or you can't plug them into things.
That's why, like, back when I had a cab and a head, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're sharing," I would be like, "Oh my god, I don't want to because I don't want to break something." I had my head almost break because a sound guy was like, "Oh, it'll be fine." The only sound guy I've ever had an issue with, it'll be fine. Well, my head stopped working for a few days after because the ohms weren't matching and it was sucking too much power. It was a mess. Anyway, so Robert reached out to me, answered all my questions. He's awesome. And yeah, ended up he's building me a cab. And I wanted, because my first tour ever, I went DI because we were flying out to Cali and then doing a full Canadian tour. So I was like, and I don't think they offered me to use their bass player stuff because at the time I'm not sure. I don't want to guess, but I was like, well, I'll just go DI, I guess. And it went well. Like almost every show, it worked out. And then we played tiny venues, we played big venues. So I was like, hey, you know what? This is easy. I can get away with it. I'll just go DI from now on. So join Cognitive, start going DI every night, every tour. And then like here and there, like 1 show a tour, there'd be an issue. 2 shows a tour, 1 again. So it's gotten to the point where it's convenient to not have a head or a cab, but the times where I can't like have a monitor, or the monitors stink, or the sound guy is not helping me out too much for whatever reason, like with the sound, and you can only do so much, of course, with bass in a small venue and going DI. So I never blame them. I'm like, I need a cab, and I want a custom-made one, like. Nothing wrong with like Ampeg and Mesa Boogie or like Mark Bass or any of these, great companies. It's just they're all big, they're all heavy. And even though I heard the new Dark Glass is light, but it's too expensive. So I'm like, all right,
it is crazy
I just
expensive,
dude. And they sound insane, but I just like I have all my pedals are Dark Glass, and I don't need another. Like I don't need a cab and a Dark Glass head. So
be a little bit of
like,
a punisher.
I know,
like,
and they never even answered my emails back in the day about becoming an artist, so they get no more of my money until I buy another pedal in a few months probably from them, and they'll just keep getting my money forever. So Robert was like, I was like, I need something lightweight, maybe on wheels, something like, just pretend I'm like 80, because like I don't want to do anything, and
you might have to play the Smiling Moose in Pittsburgh at some point.
I've heard about it.
Oh, you've never played?
Never.
It is the world's tallest staircase. When we played, we were sharing gear with Macabre, and they were backlining all the cabs, and Marv in Macabre, I think, was playing an 8x10 made of like solid oak and just weights. Like it felt like he put just like plate weights inside of it instead of speakers.
I just put it on his shoulder and just walked right up.
No, it took like 3 of us to carry it up the stairs. It's like the worst way to carry gear into a venue. It's just a front door staircase. It's gonna be a good night.
There's a venue in Toronto. I forget if it's the one we're playing. I think we're playing the Cat or the Black Cat. That might be the one that I played that also has 2 flights of stairs to get up. Big flights, not like Milk Boy. They're
not a 12
a little
set.
bigger. Ooh.
I mean, Milk Boy is a little rough.
It was a little bit.
Good venue. Staircase, a little rough, a little tight.
Staircase, a little rough. So I was like, I need something lightweight.
Yeah.
And what else? I think that was pretty much my only thing, was like lightweight, and I think he's gonna put wheels on the back so you can like kick it out and pull it like a suitcase or something.
Nice.
And he was like, yeah, easy, you know. So it's fully custom. It's gonna be three 10-inch speakers. I don't know if I'm gonna go with a power amp or a head, but I would like something vanilla so my pedals can do what they do and not be colored too much by a head's tone. So he's in the middle of building it now. He sent me pictures. He's killing it. He just got a deal with Gary Holt. So Gary Holt is playing Arachnid now, so I think it was perfect timing.
Yeah, get in early.
He might start to blow up, and it's nice that mine will kind of be made, you know, before, if hopefully he does blow up, and that'll be great. But you know, I'll have mine ready to go for not the next tour, but I'm thinking our very secret unannounced fall tour that I think you know about. But yeah, so ideally, yes, I would like a cab, and I will have one. But out of necessity and laziness, I've been going DI. And on that tour, it pretty much went well. And Greg had to do it too, because I guess there was some miscommunication about a bass cab and the existence of a bass cab, which I was very clear about to our band. I don't have one. Like, they all know that. And I said, Greg can use my pedals, like, whatever. So I know he had to go DI some nights out of necessity, and he was a good sport about it.
I mean, and he flips back and forth with that too. Like, we bullied him into buying a dark glass head, so I think that's why he likes having a cab now, because he's like, well, I just dropped a life savings on a dark glass head. I'm gonna use it
with no case.
With no, yeah.
Just like carrying it like a pizza. Just like, hey. I love it.
Yeah. But like prior to that, he maybe had like a little heart key or a little Ampeg head, but he was going DI like every show. Or just if there was someone there, he's like, yeah, I have a pedal. Same thing as you. He's like, I have a pedal board. Just let me plug in, and whatever you got is whatever I'll use. And I'm very jealous of bassists for that.
I mean, you could do it too. It doesn't usually turn out as good when guitars do it. And people argue that bass shouldn't do it either. I get it. But with the way bass tones have changed over the years, it's less about the oomph and it's more about cutting through, because with the way it's almost all happens at once with the way drums are triggered. Yep. Guitars have just gotten fucking crunchier and like meaner. The job of the bass, it depends on the band, the genre, 100%. This is just what I've seen, and with our kind of music, your job is to more cut through than provide a big fat low end. Because with trigger samples, you can have the fattest, biggest bass kick sound, and you're going to drown out someone who's got all low end on their bass and not a lot of, you know, gain or treble or anything.
Well, I think especially for what you guys do, like, you're moving. You're not just sitting there on like the root note, you know, plucking along for 5-10 seconds at a time and then moving to the next chord. You're moving all around. You're tapping, you're sliding. And if that was just big fat bottom end, it would just sound like mush.
Yeah.
You just have like a mashed potato bass tone.
Which is cool, because mashed potatoes are kind of sick from what I've read.
For like stoner rock or something like that, it's perfect. But for tech death, maybe not.
Yeah, you gotta really, you know, I like seeing and hearing different tones in different genres, but I think there's a limit where it's like, all right, like, you tried, like, my other band played a show, and I remember seeing one of the other bands on the bill. It was all local bands, and I wanted to really hear what the bass player was doing, but I couldn't, because just the tone was not cutting through at all. And it's like, you don't, like, that's his choice. Now, I don't know if he knew that. Like, who knows if at practice it cut through better, or if he doesn't want to cut through, that's his choice. But, so it's hard to be like, you know, hey, you're, you know, something's wrong with your tone. It's like, well, maybe not. Maybe that's on purpose. But for our music, yeah, and for it seems like a lot of bands that sound similar to us, or just in death metal or tech death, you do have to cut through. If you want to be heard, you have to, you know, up your highs a little bit or something, and you can do that going DI because
Yeah.
you got smaller, thinner speakers, push it through. And again, it's mostly worked, but I've started to become slightly like a show here and there, like, man, this is, I just want my own. If anything, I'll still give, you know, the front of house and XLR out so they can do what they want with me out there. But for my sound, I just a consistent, here's my cab, I do what I want with it. Don't even mic it unless you really want to, but that'll just be for me. And I have to keep in mind with my other bands when we're playing the Nail or a basement show, like that was another concern, was like, now that my other band's starting to play shows, yeah, like I miss playing those. But when I used to with my old band Dismal and Burn the Empire, I had a cab, I had a mini, like a little half stack or whatever, so it was fine. But then like I was in Dismal and Cognitive at the same time after I filled in on my first tour with the Kennedy Vale, and I got rid of my cab, and then we played a couple house shows, I think, and I was like, oh, I can't go DI in a house. Like, they barely even have a PA for the singer, let alone most of the time.
Most of that gear might be borrowed. Half of it's not working.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're like, only vocals in it, because they don't want to blow it. I get it.
Yeah. Or the house is so small, you don't need a PA. You don't need to mic up the guitars or anything like that.
Yeah, they're not even micing the kick drum or anything. Yeah. Which is great, and I'm excited to play those kind of shows again, but I need a cab. So, super excited to get that very soon.
You're kind of in an interesting one foot in each world where, you know, the basement show world I'm very familiar with, where, you know, you're all cramming in a corner, people are hanging off pipes and like sitting on washing machines. There is no PA. You're lucky if there's a working PA. There's no backlines, there's no mics, there's nothing. Versus like the small to medium club scene, and then even bigger as you start getting bigger. You start getting more recognized or going on bigger tours. You know, thinking about going full DI or like live monitoring yourself in your monitors becomes more of a necessity too. So like it's interesting to me how you're kind of in both playing both roles at the, right now at the same time.
Yeah, I have to adjust, and I don't want to because I'm stubborn and cheap and lazy. But I have to do it, and I'm excited to hear this thing. He's putting LEDs in it, so I'm gonna be like, cool.
Nice.
If nothing else, people can look at that, and they don't have to look at me.
Colored lights work. They do half the job for you.
The kids love it.
You could turn your volume off, and as long as they like blink or strobe or change colors, coolest.
That's right. And my eventual goal is to not even play. Like, it's just to just be on stage, headbanging, and pretending like I'm playing.
Hell yeah. You run like a MIDI line to your cab so it strobes in time with AJ's kick or something like that.
Yeah. I'm not even going to hide it. I'm not even going to be plugged in. Some days I might not hold my bass. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it.
You're
this is
just
a few years away.
Out. You're rocking out with the audience to your cab.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I got the little remote. I'm like changing the colors.
Yeah,
with the song
like a
going like this. I got no bass.
Yep. You're the hype
That's
guy.
the life.
Yeah. Just throw the bass in the house sound. It's fine.
Yeah,
like
or AJ can wear my bass while he's playing, maybe.
Yeah, he's kind of lazy. He needs another job.
I've read that. He's lazy.
A lot of people are saying, as a drummer, he doesn't do enough.
Pretty much everyone at all the shows was like, he's pulling double duty. Why not triple? Why isn't he giving Charlie a break in inoculation? That's kind of rude.
Charlie hurt himself. Why isn't AJ taking over? Why is he so sweaty? He's not doing anything.
The one day, yeah, he. The one day I was like, "What did you do?" He's like, "Just set up my drums in the back." He was pouring sweat. I was like, "Jesus, dude." He's like, "I know. I, that's just how he is. That's our Vienna."
He's a damn fellow.
He is a chum. I'll give him that. He's a chum and a pal. Not much more than that.
No, there's
Drummer.
nothing else to say.
According to Sick Drummer magazine, he's a sick drummer. They would know.
I guess. But by their title, I guess they would know.
True. I miss him.
So, new album. I'm going to keep calling it that because it's technically the newest album.
I have it right here. First person to comment Pete's social security number gets this album.
You get that second one too if you supply my credit card.
Yeah, I have a whole. This holds like 30 vinyl. It's just all the new album. 30 of them.
You get a third one if you supply the security code of my credit card as well.
It's like the episode of SpongeBob where they're trying to be employee of the month, so SpongeBob breaks into Squidward's house and he smashes his alarm clock, and then he just opens the closet door and there's like 100 of them.
Full of clocks.
That's there we go. Send me Pete's info and you got it. Any variant you want, as long as it's gold.
What was I even gonna say?
I don't care.
Oh, the new album.
I'm ready. Tell me.
So
Tell me about it.
his official name is Pete Hath. Yep, you got it. All right,
Damn.
Madness, you get a vinyl. So being the new guy, being the newest guy in the band, and also being a new guy myself, it's a little bit of a weird role to step into, especially when like the band is already actively writing. So when you jumped in, like how, and especially during COVID as well, how involved was that process of writing the album? Like what was that like?
Firstly, are you the new guy in Hath?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Wow.
I've been here for like 4 years and I'm still the new guy.
And you will be until
I know, until we
you
kick.
finally get rid of AJ.
Should, but then we both need new drummers.
No, you kick him out of Hath, he can double his cognitive time, and then we'll kick him out of cognitive, and then he can quadruple his American Standard time. So that's kind of the ultimate. Greg paid me to get this started so that American Standard can start.
Finally blow up. This is all making more sense. But then we have to find a drummer who also already has a studio and is a world-class engineer. Because I'm very used to not paying for studio time anymore, and I'm not going back.
True. We'll have to find, yeah. And
That's the only way we're not in
engineer
debt.
futon too.
Yeah, that's the only way we're not in like crippling debt right now is because we don't pay for studio time.
I'll have to hit Craigslist.
Yeah, might have to.
But yeah, the album. So yeah, COVID world was happening. To be honest, like I said earlier, I'm a slave to Guitar Pro. So also admission of guilt, which Rob and Harry and Shane, and I guess AJ, even though he joined around the same time, I made it very clear to Rob that I can't write riffs. Like I just have never come up with an original riff or from nothing. Like all my bass parts I write, except for when Rob will give parts, or he wrote them all bass parts. So like I can write to other stuff, but when it comes to like from nothing, writing a song or writing a part, I can't. I don't know what it is. So I told them that when I joined, and they're cool with it because Harry and Rob are just. And then AJ wrote some stuff for the last one. It didn't make the cut, and I know Shane was giving. So basically, everybody but me is helping write, which is cool.
Don't sell yourself short because you wrote the bass parts.
Well, it's just, it's bass.
I'm giving you the credit. I understand what you mean.
Just because we're on camera, I get it. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I get what you mean though, because like jumping into Hath, like even though I'm in Ophidius with Frank and AJ now for 8 years, 7-8 years. It's been a long time. maybe more. They're two very different bands, and pretty much everything we've put out was either written or mostly written when I joined the band. So one of the first big hurdles I had was, and not making this about me, one of the first big hurdles I had was learning how to write songs in like the Hath style. So I get what you mean when it's like, yeah, I'm not writing anything. Because I would write things and they're like, that's an Ophidius song. Like, that's what I write.
You did mention that on tour. Now that
It's like, you hired me for a reason. What's that reason? Oh, okay, I'll write the solos.
Yeah, and you look cool on stage mimicking the lyrics.
Yeah, if I lose my hair, I'm fucked out of a job.
Me too.
It does most.
Although Rob kept his job, so maybe we'd be okay.
Yeah, but he writes the riffs.
And
Greg's got that pretty voice.
Yeah, you just have the hair, I guess.
Yeah, I got the hair.
And the solos.
And the pointy guitar. But Frank's got a pointy guitar too now.
We're hitting up Craigslist again.
Fuck. I'm about to work myself out of a job.
Sorry, dude. I'll join.
All right,
I have
you want the job?
And I write the couple bass features that are on stuff.
All right, when I get fired, you'll be first in line.
Thank you.
You don't. If you're the second guitarist, you don't need to write that many riffs. Frank and AJ, they got that covered.
Well, you already said I'll be the second bassist in Hath.
No, I said you'll be the lead bassist.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I want to be rhythm bassist.
No. I have that faith in you.
No, I don't. I appreciate it, and maybe I could do it. I don't want to. I want to be rhythm.
That's upsetting.
So that's when I joined Cognitive. I was like, I'm going to be the rhythm bass player. They're like, that's cool. We don't have a lead one. So with writing Malevolent, it pretty much, since I'm a slave to Guitar Pro, it kind of went for me the same way, regardless of if COVID was happening or not, because Harry and Rob are old school. They'll write stuff and then just play it a ton and then teach each other with their guitars in their hands without tabs. They tab out of necessity from before for fill-ins. Yeah, and then for me. So it pretty much went the same in bass world that it would have otherwise. Rob taught himself how to tab on Guitar Pro. He's gotten pretty good at it. Would send it to me. He would also send a video of him playing it, and then I would like correct it, because like little things that are hard, like triplets versus, is it, 2/16 and an eighth note or whatever. So it was a lot of, getting videos and audio, getting mostly good Guitar Pro tabs, fixing them, and then writing bass on Guitar Pro, sending it back, getting feedback, changing it or not changing it. We didn't get together to jam at all. Any of the new songs. I don't even think one time.
I heard that. I heard like the first time you guys practiced, I think for a show, like your first show out of COVID, was the first time you played any of those songs together.
Yep. And it was kind of weird, but like just because of everything that was happening, it felt fine. Like to me, again, living and tabbing through and learning through the computer, it was no different for me. But I know for like Rob and Harry, and maybe Shane and AJ, I'm not sure. It was probably harder because they're so used to getting together and jamming and working parts out in person together. Harry and Rob still collabed on stuff. The Mall the working title was Harry Wharton, because they each wrote about half of it. Yeah. Maybe a third and 2/3. But so yeah, they still collabed on stuff when they could. And then yeah, when we recorded in the studio, that was the first time we had, for the most part, seen each other, at least as a whole band, since the last show we played was right before COVID, December. We opened for Cattle in Philly, and that was the first time that Cognitive had played as the actual lineup.
Yeah.
Since me and AJ joined. was like 2 years after we joined, or almost 2 years. And then the next time that we had played together was the first show of the December tour with Summoning the Lich and My Missing Half, and we had a fill-in for that anyway.
Those are
on
huge
drums.
gaps.
Yeah, but luckily, like, everybody that did their homework, just talking tours, and like it just felt like really nothing had changed. But for the album, it's pretty normal for me, and I, since it was my first album with them, I was super nervous and over-prepared, which is good. Wasn't really good for my anxiety leading up to it, but it turned out fine.
If it makes you feel any better, AJ used you as an example to shit talk how prepared the rest of us were when we recorded.
Nah,
Like,
did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is two-faced Vienna here. So
Old TF.
yeah, I talked to Harry about this too. Like, he was like, when you go to record with AJ, is he like you just nail it and you're good to go? I'm like, no, he shit talks me the entire time. He's like, Harry did this in 2 takes. What's your problem?
Oh my God.
I remember him saying, like, you showed up and like everyone was kind of like, how's this gonna go? Because I heard the stories. You guys didn't really jam together at all prior to recording. It's like you all, like you said, did your homework, showed up, laid down tracks, and everyone was like, hopefully it's good.
I didn't even give them any demo. Like, I don't self-record.
Yeah.
Maybe sent a video or 2, but yeah.
So he said you showed up, and I don't know if it was just him. He didn't really know how you play, or like everyone was like, oh, how does Tyler play? And he was like, Tyler sat down, finger picked the entire album in 1 take, and went home in about 45 minutes. He's like, what's wrong with the rest of you?
It definitely it felt very short. It was 2 half days. I think it was like a 4-hour. It might have taken longer to get my tone and I had to change strings in the middle. So it went really well, and that was because I was scared. And I'm gonna use that and scare myself for the next one. So I over prepare again.
Yeah,
but yeah, it went really smooth.
Too high. The bar's too high for you. You have to be good now.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, because I just don't want to do anything. But I was nervous. I wanted to, the band's been around a while. They have several albums. So going through my head, I wanted to continue the, standard that Ian had set on bass, and I wanted to make sure that I was pleased with my performance, because it's going to be there forever. You don't go re-record albums, and so I wanted to be happy with it. So I practiced 4 or 5 hours a day for the few months leading up to it, and luckily with COVID, I had the time to do that, and I would have made time anyway, because my first tour I did the same thing. I didn't quite over prepare. I pretty much, because there was still one song I was like iffy on when we landed to rehearse, but I told friends and family I'm gonna be pretty much bogged down, so for I think 6 weeks up until the first when we flew to California, those 6 weeks I worked and then I practiced, and that was pretty much it. I think I went out a couple times to see friends, but yeah, I just kind of scare myself and think the worst is going to happen, so I overdo it. And like I said, it's not fun leading up to it, but then the finished product ended up very happy with it. AJ pretty much picked my tone, which I'm very happy with.
He does the same thing to us.
Yeah, he just knows what to do. I don't want to gas him up too much either. Is he in the chat?
No. Well, you gas him up, I'll knock him down. He's a tone dictator.
So he loved when I was like, "Oh, you could pick it." He's probably like, "All right, I was going anyway."
When we recorded our album, I made once we like dialed in the tone and like right before like we packed everything up for guitars, I told him I want to profile what we have. Like I want to have as close to the album tone as possible for live shows. So like when I play live and I've got the Kemper, you're hearing exactly what was in the studio. And whenever I bring that up and I tell someone asks like, oh, you know, what are you using? And it's, oh, it's like, it's an album tone. It's a mix of 2 amps and a bunch of pedals. It's what we used on the album. AJ could be like across the room and be like, almost.
That bad hearing.
Yeah.
Just with that.
He's like, almost. I made it better. Yeah, but
That's our Vienna. That's our AJ Vienna Productions. That's why I call him that. His full name, full legal name.
He's ruthless, but the work speaks for itself.
Down pick.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I didn't play with a pick, because I didn't want to down pick everything.
He'd bully you the whole time.
Yeah. I know he did bully Harry and Rob, mostly Rob. It was great. So I was also nervous to record with AJ because it was a little bit because of his just previous work, and you know, I don't want to say prestige, because again, if he's in here, you know, he don't need that.
You're not that good,
AJ. So basically, almost everything that I have put on an album or that's recorded, almost, at least everything recently, is my friend Rob Ellinger, who's in my other band, Void Reaver. He's just recorded me for the last how many years? Pretty much everything I've done. Covers, Dismal that I used to be in. I recorded with him for one of the school projects, a couple covers. So I'm so used to Robbie, and it's just so easy to record with him. Laid back, he still gets the best out of me. It always sounds good. The whole thing. He's awesome. So I was like, originally, actually, I was going to record bass with him and have it sent to AJ, and then it was decided that I was going to record with AJ for consistency, which I totally understand, and it went well. So I was nervous about that. I was like, God, I'm so used to Robbie. Like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, what if, like, I'm just not used to how AJ does things? What, the whole thing. And it turned out great. It was awesome. AJ was so easy, and, you know, he gasses you up. Well, at least he gassed me up. I guess he doesn't gas you guys up in the studio.
Maybe it's just me.
Call me baby a lot. It makes you feel good, you know.
I'll take some responsibility there. I can be difficult to work with.
Gotcha. Yeah, as long as
only a little difficult. He makes it worse.
I could see that. It's brotherly love. Me and AJ aren't as close as you guys, just because we don't, you know.
You don't get him.
We've only known each other a few years. Yeah. I'm not so unlucky as you to be able to see him as much as you guys do.
I'll say something nice. He drives a lot. He drives the van a lot, huh?
Oh, yeah, he did. I was surprised at how much he drove the van, actually.
Well, legally, Greg and I couldn't. we weren't insured for it. So, but the first tour, we were all insured for the van, and he just didn't let us. He was like, we're like, you want us to drive? He's like, I got it. I'm like, all right.
Because the first couple nights, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm driving. I was like, you just played not 1 but 2 sets and helped us load the bus and loaded the merch and other things for Hath. Yeah, I don't know. I have the energy, so
yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
Well, once that last like snare hit of the last song happens, it's a ticking clock. You've got maybe 3-4 hours of adrenaline Vienna, and then he just falls off a cliff and he goes to bed. So the faster the show ends, the faster we load up and get out of there, we can make some good time to the next spot, and none of us have to drive.
That's great. And I think the Sixer song gave him life, too.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun every night.
Yeah, the one night we didn't play it, I was sad. I think the Fallujah show, we did not.
Yeah.
One of the shows we didn't, where we weren't. I think the Malevolent show, maybe we didn't also. Just, you know, it's just good energy.
Yeah. I mean, when you're not the headliner, it's kind of weird to throw like a closing song at the end of your set.
Yeah,
So it's
that's true.
excusable.
Yeah, we'll get over it.
Yeah.
But all kidding aside about AJ Vienna Productions, it was very easy. Turned out great for bass stuff, and yeah, there's definitely things that I know I want to improve for the next one for myself. Just in general, my role in, like, I didn't get to, because of COVID and I think work, I didn't get to be there for everybody's sessions, which I do regret. I was there for like half the vocal sessions and about maybe half the guitar stuff, because Harry and Rob would kind of switch off. They didn't do like Rob Day, Harry Day. I'm pretty sure there was overlap. And yeah, I wish I wasn't. No, I don't think anyone was there for AJ. I think he just recorded himself.
That's how he works.
Does he do that?
Like,
for
there's
you
some
guys?
secret sauce there. I have a suspicion he's just programming MIDI hits, and he's really good at dialing in like hit intensity for triggers. So,
We're gonna have to get that security camera footage to the
Exactly.
camera that's probably not even plugged in that practice room.
Yeah.
Both of them that aren't plugged in. Just kidding. They're probably plugged in for anyone who wants to go steal all of AJ Vienna Productions equipment.
He's also
Just
got
don't
a
steal any
very
cognitive
large.
stuff.
He's also got a very large dog that lives in that studio. Very mean,
Yeah.
large
Named
dog.
Frank.
We release Frank on the world. So you kind of you mentioned something there. I've been trying to figure out how to segue and touch on that's roles in the band. And again, not to keep harping on being the new guy, but there was something you did on tour. We talked about a little bit that really impressed me. And like AJ told me, you have largely taken over merch for Cognitive. You're like the head merch guy, or you and Shane are the head merch guys. You kind of tag team that, and kind of naturally in every band I've been in, people fall into like these roles. So someone told me like Rob is the daytime driver. He never drives at night. He's always the daytime driver. I think you and Shane, I heard, were the nighttime drivers. And one of the things you did merch-wise that really impressed me was very simple. And it was just asking people what their name was and like offering to shake a hand or a fist bump when they bought something. And that, when I started doing that, like I started taking over merch largely during the tour. I started doing that. I noticed people were immediately like opened up. They wanted to talk, they wanted to hang out, they were down to like ask more questions or just kind of bro down at the show while other bands were playing. And what I want to know is, from your opinion, what are some of the best things younger bands, mid-level bands, and larger bands can do to up their game? Whether it's merch, whether it's shows, like what is, in your opinion, some of the best tips bands can do to make themselves better?
Free merch would be great. Just give everything away, especially in this economy.
Yeah, but we still have to pay for gas.
Maybe you do. Just don't know what to say when you get to the gas station. It's an industry secret. Cognitive hasn't paid for gas since I joined.
We're not that professional yet. You haven't. You gave us a shower
I don't know if
tips.
professional's the word.
You told us how to get free showers. You didn't tell us how to get free gas.
That's true. That's next tour.
Okay.
Just one tidbit per tour.
All right. In 2 years, we'll know the gas secrets.
That's right. So yeah, I just like, I wasn't like this as a kid, and I'm mentioning this because at my current job I work in my family's restaurant in between tours, and a lot of talking to people, you know, serving, food running, bartending. It's like, that's kind of like 50% of your job is to give them food or take their order. The other half is talking and, you know, making nice and listening. So that's I kind of just carry that over into merch, not on purpose. Um, like when we tour, I genuinely am thrilled that anybody comes, like at all, and I I have the same attitude whether one person buys a shirt or everybody buys a shirt. It's just like I just like thank you so much for coming to the show. You drove here, you maybe took off work or you got work tomorrow, or even if it's free time, that's just as good. Like you're spending your free time to drive here to watch a bunch of idiots play music that almost no one likes. Um, you paid for a ticket, you're paying for a shirt, or you're just buying it, or you're taking a free sticker. It doesn't matter. You're taking the time out of your life to come see us and to talk to me or to come do something. It's like, geez, the least I could do is like introduce myself and anything, you know. And then you read the room. There's some people where I could like I've I've gone to like a show or even just like at a store and like you got those people that are like, hey, you gonna buy something? Or like, yeah. So I kind of try to read the person and see if they seem to be open to me talking to them, or I'll just, let me know if you need anything is like the least I'll say.
Yeah.
All the way up to, hey, how you doing? And then let it go from there. Sometimes they're like, good. And then they, go on looking. Okay. You know. But yeah, just like, and I love learning like what people have to say. We're in a new city or at a new venue or just somewhere I haven't been in a long time. It's just cool to like learn anything, like even something that they think is stupid or doesn't matter. Like I just love hearing people talk about really anything. So that's why I like being at the merch table as often as I can. There's some days where I need a break or just for a couple hours, or I just want to go eat in the bus or whatever. But yeah, most of the time I just love meeting people. And if you're not at the merch table, you like. So there's an example, when we played Virginia Beach, there was 2 bands that dropped, and there was the one, Yeet Cleaver, one of the best names on the tour, or best band names I've ever heard in my life. And they killed it. Mostly young kids. But like we were there for hours. We were there all day. I got a massage next door. Like we were there so long.
There's a dope Chinese place next door.
Yeah, you guys were chowing down.
That's still, it might be the best Chinese food I've ever had.
Really?
Shout out Virginia Beach, the Chinese food place next to the venue.
Yeah. Well, anybody in Virginia Beach, just figure out where that is. Good luck.
There's one.
Scandals, right? Scandals we played.
Yeah. Is this Scandals?
Scandals
What's
Live.
the other one?
Not Riff House.
Not Riff House. It was Scandals. Chinese food place next to Scandals. Big shout out. 5 out of 5.
And Chinese massage place next to that.
Unaffiliated.
Oh, did you ask?
No, I didn't see them offering massages or food.
Oh, with the dumplings. So we were there all day. The opening band was there most of the day. I do remember seeing that, but like, I don't like to force a conversation. But like, didn't really get to talk to them at all. Well, they played, didn't get to do the 6-set thing, which everybody memes on, just because like whatever, busy hanging out doing the thing. Well, they bought merch. Well, that was the time I got to meet them and talk to them. So that sometimes happens where that even happened in Atlanta. It's like the merch table is a place where you can meet the other bands playing because they know where to find. They knew one of you will be there, or maybe they want to buy a shirt and you just like, hey, I didn't get to tell you, but like you guys killed it or whatever. Like the merch table is a great like meeting spot. That's usually the first place where someone goes when they need the keys to the van. Looking for drink tickets, whatever it is, like it's just a little hub. So it's a great place to meet the other bands, to meet people at the show.
I'm gonna
there's always a chair.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick right there. PSA to anyone watching live, catching up later. The second a band finishes their set, while appreciated, is not the time to walk up and say, great set. Find them at the merch table, please. You will make our day. We love hearing it. We love that you enjoyed what we do. Just wait until we're at the merch table. It makes getting off stage so much easier. Back to you.
I prefer it being said while we're playing. Like if someone's just in the front screaming "sick set" while we're like in the middle of a song. Personally,
I mean, that's someone, I think that's a gambling person. Like, because you guys, you could be 2 songs in of a 7-song set and just have 5 stinkers in a row. And they've played their hand. They went on record and said you were good and you might have stunk.
we do play our only 2 good songs first every tour, and the rest is just filler.
Yeah,
So
it's not even your songs half
you
the
just
time.
call us out. Yeah. That's why you guys play Opeth as your sound check, because that counts as one. That's one of the good ones.
Well, also because everyone knows and likes that song, so when they hear it, they're like, "Oh, this will be a good band," and then we're there. We stop playing Master's Apprentice, and then they're already there. They can't leave.
So good. And then, dude,
we have them hostage.
so many nights I heard people go, "Play the rest of it," which you should have.
The song's like 12 minutes long. We're not doing that. That's half our
Just
set.
play it apart 7 times in a row, dude.
Just play that one riff for 12 minutes.
Another sidebar here. My plan was, and you just plan for so many things on tour, including tattoos. That just never happened.
I say
My
it's a
plan
sign of the
was,
times. Like they're not doing walk-ins right now.
that's true too. But other tours we've done, we've always said we'll get matching tats, and we just never do it. You just plan to do so much, and then you just don't.
Why don't we just hang out and get tattoos? Does it
Well,
have
that's
to be
what-
on tour?
That's what me and Frank were talking about.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna have to do now. Happy birthday again to your mom on Inoculation Show Day. I can't believe she decided to have her birthday on their Philly show day, but
Yeah.
let it slide. We might do it that day, but then we can do it again. Apparently there's...
Can you not get Chum Bucket tattoos that day so we can all get Chum Bucket tattoos another day?
We could
Is
try.
that too heavy a request?
Yeah, I'm sure Frank's... I just figured since most of us will be there.
I'd feel like a poser if you guys all had Chum Bucket tattoos
Well, you are.
and then we went and got tattoos and I'm the only one getting a Chum Bucket tattoo.
Chum Bucket.
The tattoo artist won't understand that we all decided this together and I was late.
You'll look
to it.
weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Don't want to do
that.
that. I understand. Well, just be born on a different day, Mrs. Pete's mom. That's
Shit.
all.
I'm gonna have to tell you that.
We'll do it up. We have to see exactly all who wants it.
Yeah. There were like 5 of us or something like that.
Yeah. So one of my master plans as a prank on you guys was at the last show, I wanted to sound check with Master's Apprentice.
That would have been
But Rob was about it, but he's like, I don't know the riff. I was like, well, we'll figure it out. And then we just didn't. But I was so stoked to do that. Merch. Yeah, so it's just a great, I just love hanging out at merch. Like, just since I was a kid, I like doing little yard sales and lemonade stands. Like, I just like selling stuff and yapping and, like, there's always a chair at the merch table so I can sit down, you know? That's because, again, I don't like to do much. And standing is a lot.
Also, if like it's a packed show and there's not really room to move around, there's always room behind the merch table.
Got all that space. But yeah, like, just have a social butterfly at your merch table if possible, or whoever's the most social. This is my advice to 69 million listeners that are trying to sell a lot of merch.
We're up to 69,420,000.
Sick. Nice.
Numbers just keep going up.
Nice. Yeah, just if you have to force that, then don't do it. Don't be the merch person if you don't like talking to people or you don't care to give people the time of day to hear their name. And now I'm horrible with names, so this isn't like a, you know, you have to be great at remembering names and like all this other stuff, because that is one of my fatal flaws.
Brian from Virginia Beach, he remembers you. You better remember him.
Oh God. Oh, Brian, I'm sorry. I'll remember a face most likely, but names not my thing. So just like be cool and hang out at merch, and like this is probably something I need to do less for financial reasons, but like if someone buys like $80 worth of stuff, I feel the need to like give them a little break or like a discount or like give them a patch or like something. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe you came here to spend this money and this time on us. So I don't know if you want to take that advice, anybody, about giving a little perks, but
I've had that
it
happen.
helps.
I've had that happen to me. Like maybe I'm a little sauced and really stoked on a band playing that night, and go in and drop $100 on whatever. I've done it a few times, and one time I think it was Scale the Summit. Like I bought a shirt, and they had all their guitar books for sale there, and I bought each guitar book. The guy was like, "Are you like for real?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm pretty drunk, but yeah." He's like, "Have a poster." I've got this like full-size poster of one of their albums that I can't put anywhere because it's too big. I can't get it framed because it's like $100 to frame this insanely sized poster. But he gave me a poster, and I still remember that. And I'm still talking about it.
There you go.
It
Well,
made my night. Made my night.
yeah, so sometimes it's worth it. I mean, maybe we could have come home with an extra $100 as a band if I didn't do that here and there, but I don't know. So take that one or don't, people. But yeah, just like if it feels natural to you to make a connection or just like talk to somebody or listen, like do it. Like I love all you guys on the tour package, but I need to talk to other people here and there. Like
I get it.
And like fans and other bands are just a great, I just love. When I think about tour, it's just like incredible that it all works and what it is. And part of that is merch, is sitting there, and that's really where you meet people. I don't even care if anyone buys anything. Like when people come up, and if I could tell that they're like, maybe they can't afford it or they want to see us first, I'll tell them. I'll be like, hey, feel free to window shop. Stickers are free. And like, yeah, there are people like, yeah, I don't usually buy until after you play. I'm like, no, make us earn it. That's important too. Like, don't just buy a shirt because we're here. It is helpful, but you bought a ticket. It's like, well, there has to be some kind of, make us earn it for you.
Yeah.
That's valid.
That's valid. Yeah. Absolutely.
But the numbers of it, like I had the little iPad with the inventory, and I enjoyed pretty much all of it. Setting up is the worst part usually.
Yeah.
Because I'm very OCD about it, as Shane knows.
I developed a little bit of a setup breakdown OCD, and I'm not happy about it.
It's tough because that's the thing, is like how you look is half the battle. I've seen bands merch set up. I'm like, that's whack. Like it might not stop me from buying something, but I think it could encourage people to come over. More advice: have lights.
Yes, that was a game changer for us. Like that immediately made us look professional. Like we're just a bunch of drunk idiots, but our merch.
Yeah, have a couple lamps with bright ass lights. I kind of like that you guys had the price list.
That was an experiment that worked out really well.
I toy with that idea. The only thing that I wonder is because our merch is always so busy, the table's full, and the wall, the t-shirt rack is full. So adding something else onto there, I don't know if it looks cluttered. But for your guys' setup, it was great.
Yeah.
Because your table space was like, you had a shirt, when you had vinyl, CDs, patches, stickers, and the price list.
My thought with that was anyone who's just walking by or window shopping, like for me, when I'm at a show, if I don't know how much a shirt costs, I'm probably like 50% less likely to buy one. Or if like it's in a tiny piece of tape on the shirt 10 feet behind the table and I'm like straining to see it, I'm not going to give it my time. So how can we kind of reduce that friction for anyone just walking by is like, anyone walking by is like, oh, they're how much? Oh, 20? Okay. And like keep walking. Or if like we're slammed, there's a lot of people at the table and someone just wants to know how much a patch costs. Like having that there, I think worked out really well.
No, it is good for that because it's awkward to be like, how much is a shirt? Because then if it's too much, you're like, oh, see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea. I've been toying with it, so we'll see if we do it going forward. Especially like when we're in Canada next, the price difference is I'm gonna forget how much we're charging for stuff because it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
So it probably will be a good idea.
At least for Canada.
True. And I have the little Venmo card. That's a big one now. So I would say
Your Venmo card was a great idea. Anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, it's a Venmo has QR codes that anyone buying something can just scan and pay you using Venmo. Versus we didn't think of that. And anytime someone came up and said, "Hey, do you have Venmo?" It was like a 5-step process to get paid. Versus someone's like, "Hey, you have Venmo?" "Yep, here's the card. It's $30 for what you want." And they just key in $30 and it's sent right to you. So easy.
Yeah, I made a little. Yeah, so every person who has Venmo, you have a QR code on your app, or associated with your account, and it puts your profile picture in the middle of it. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna make mine the Cognitive logo, and I wish I had one on me, but yeah, so it's a square like this big, cut it out, laminated it, said Cognitive. You just scan it and boom, and it's really easy. I would say out of our non-cash transactions, let's say like 70% were Venmo.
Yeah.
Like maybe 80, like way more Venmo than PayPal. And then we had like 2 card ones that we had you guys do for us.
Mm-hmm.
The card reader thing is a whole nother. For anyone in the IRS watching, all our merch is promotional and given away for free. Like I said in the beginning.
In Canada too.
Free merch is the key. Yeah, Canada especially.
They don't get paid on merch. They give it away.
Yeah, we give it away for promotional purposes. But if you are in a band that charges for merch, this is what you should do.
Exactly. It's a great idea.
Yeah, in theory. It's all in theory. Where it's called Death Metal Debt for a reason. We don't make money. So
it's because the audiences are too big and too willing to buy tickets. We just have to give the merchandise away because we feel so bad.
We have to, yeah.
Sorry.
It's just our conscience.
It's too many of you.
Don't feel bad for us.
No,
we feel bad for us enough.
We feel bad for you having to get free merch from us.
It's true.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on your inventory is important, so you don't run out of vinyl like Hath did.
Like day 4.
Yeah, no, that's obviously out of your control type stuff. Vinyl is crazy right now. We got lucky with that our vinyl were ready. I think they were, I think they shipped maybe like a week late or 2 weeks for some people that pre-ordered. But that's nothing compared to so many artists right now dealing with vinyl stuff.
Yeah, we got lucky. We're only like 2.5 months late. Like, I was hearing about bands being 6 months plus late.
God.
Insane.
Just buy CDs.
We sold more CDs that tour than all of my old bands collectively their entire life cycles. People are still buying them.
Yeah, me too. I can't point my my whole laptop over here, but I started as a CD collector. I got like 400. Now I'm just getting into vinyl. But it's good because CDs are cheap. So it's like vinyl they're not bad, but I did buy some expensive Maiden vinyl and Rush vinyl the other day. Hurt my wallet.
Trap.
I actually didn't put them up yet.
Oh.
I'm gonna show them all. I'm afraid to put them anywhere.
Too precious. Too expensive.
Yeah. I don't want to show the price, but this is an OG Killers.
Like original pressing?
Yeah, and the sleeve is immaculate. Whoever bought this never used it. They probably bought it and put it in like a freaking... The sleeve is insanely good. There's no record print.
Because even those old classic albums, like the 2012 repressing or whatever, 2022 repressing, they still go for like $30. Like they're
Yeah,
not,
to be
those
honest, it
are not
wasn't
cheap.
much more than that. So I was like, I have to get it. And then the this Rush album that is absolutely slept on. Of course, I have a freaking reflection. But this is sealed, original
Oh, wow.
sealed. So shout out to the Rock Shop in King of Prussia who carries a lot of our stuff, a lot of cognitive stuff. They always have a great selection of stuff. This is not sponsored by them. And then this cool little 7-inch.
Rock Shop, King of Prussia, if you want to sponsor us, we are all ears.
There you go. I got to get hat stuff in there.
We got to get hat stuff in general.
Where, I mean, they have a lot of CDs too. Where do you guys keep that stuff at the studio?
That's a good question.
CDs and stuff.
Yeah, talking about staying up on your inventory, we are, some might say bad at that. I don't know what we have. We're still in like that day after you got home from tour mindset where you're like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to look at an instrument. I just want to take a shower and sleep.
That's how it goes. I should have taken an extra day off of work afterwards.
Oh,
I took the day after off, but not. I should have done like 2 days after. This next tour I am, and it just so happens that we get back on like a Sunday, and then I was gonna work that Tuesday, but then I'm seeing, actually, if you're interested, Thank You Scientist in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
On that Tuesday.
Where are they playing?
They are playing somewhere in Brooklyn. I gotta see.
I haven't seen them yet, and I really should.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your homie.
I know. I love Ben. I've known Ben forever, and I've seen all of his other bands. I haven't seen Thank You Scientist yet.
What a bad chum.
I know.
St. Vitus.
Oh,
Easy.
cool.
Easy
Yeah,
claps.
that's easy.
628.
I'm around.
I'm thinking of going with a couple chums if you want to chum it up.
If you're down for some extra chums, hell yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm taking off work for that show. I'm going to take off the next day because I don't want to drive back from Brooklyn and then go to work. So I'm treating myself for the next tour, even though it's going to be short. It's only 12 days in Canada.
That's a lot of days in Canada.
Or maybe 10.
Canada's giant, but not that big.
Well, we're not doing coast to coast. If we were, it'd be a different story. There'd be like 2 or 3 days of just driving.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's beautiful to look at when you're doing that, but there's so much empty space like the Midwest. There's only a couple places to play shows there, and it's rough.
Yeah.
It's just usually you get a door deal, and it's the people out there need live music, so it's not like that we don't want to. If we did a full Canadian, we would play there, absolutely. But it's just like, it's easier to just do an Eastern Canada or a Western, but there's way more concentrated cities, in the East.
Yeah, you can kind of go from the coast all the way out. From U.S. terms, POV, you go from the coast to like Chicago, and there's cities the whole way. Versus like the West Coast, it's like California, and then there's Edmonton and Calgary. I don't even know what else is there. Winnipeg? That's on the coast, isn't it? Or it's nearer Vancouver.
Vancouver's the coast. Winnipeg, I believe, is close. I could be wrong. Sorry, Canadian. Right. 420 Canadian listeners.
We're American. We know.
There's Regina and Saskatoon is like it's like above Montana, I think. So yeah, it gets very sparse. And then once you get above like the Dakotas, there's nothing. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. It's nothing. There's like 2 or 3 cities within like hundreds and hundreds of miles. Just looking at my little map. Um, and yeah, if you do a full Canadian,
It's a lot.
you have days off just to drive most of the time.
It's like a country just filled with Texases.
Yeah. There were some of the drives on this one. I
They were
was
a
like,
little
there's
rough.
nothing here.
I mean, Wisconsin to what did we do? Lafayette, Indiana. That was long, with a lot of nothing. But Atlanta to Virginia Beach was brutal.
That was bad.
9 hour overnight, and that's not even like, in terms of like real road warriors. That's a drive. That's not bad. I mean,
Yeah, once you're like Midwest, West Coast, those are the bad ones. Obviously, it depends on routing. You could pass through a bunch of cities that you're not playing and have a long drive, but they're way more sparse.
yeah.
Like if you're doing Denver, Salt Lake City, Arizona cities, like yeah, you're getting consistent 10 to 15 hour drives.
Marv from Macabre was telling me they were on tour with, I think, either Cavalera or Sepultura, and they were playing in, I think, Edmonton, and the next day was back in the States, maybe Chicago, somewhere like Midwest, and they actually had to leave the show early. Like they played, they worked their merch for like a little bit, half hour, and then packed up and left because they'd have to drive all night, and they didn't have enough time, like physical time, to get from Edmonton to the next show if they didn't leave like while the show was still going on.
Wow. I've never had that, but
That's the worst I've ever heard.
that's incredible. Was it part of the same tour, or
Yeah, it was all the same tour. I don't know, maybe it's like they weren't doing overnight drives or something like that, or
that's crazy.
It-
I hope
it
to
was
never
a
have
brutal
that.
drive. Yeah.
Like the worst we get is like when we want to get home at the end of a tour, like you know, the last show, like in a December tour with Summoning the Lich and My Missing Half, the last show was in Orlando, so we just wanted to haul ass and get home. We didn't have to,
Yeah.
but it's like
That's
tour's
still a
over,
day.
we got work, like let's get home,
You just
and
want
it's
to be
rough.
home. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done a couple Austin, Texas to home. Those are bad. But yeah, those are usually at the end or the beginning. Now, our secret tour,
I was just thinking
Secret.
that you got a rough one coming up.
yeah, it starts and ends on the West Coast, and we are driving. So, do what you got to do.
Yep. That's why you rock stars.
Bobby rock and roll.
On that, I
Yeah.
think that's a good place to kind of put a pin in it for now. So we're going to tease the secret tour that's coming up. But before the secret tour is announced, what do you guys got going on? What's coming up for Cognitive?
So, we are going to Canada in June. I'll bring up the exact dates, which I should have had prepared.
We're rock stars, not professionals.
That's, you said it. You said it, my heavy metal brother and chum. It's not even in my favorites on my phone. I'm really screwing up. It starts in Brooklyn, New York. So it's not just Canada, believe it or not. Anybody
it's a
watching
North
this?
American tour.
It's a North American tour. June 14th, St. Vitus, Brooklyn. So Philly friends, it's not that far. Can make a little trip. It's Cognitive and Tombstoner, who I haven't met, but I
They're
hear
really
are
cool.
wonderful. So that'll be fun. We go to Binghamton, New York, and then we're in Canada. June 16th, Quebec City, Quebec. June 17th,
Oh,
Montreal, Quebec.
Binghamton to Quebec City?
Is that a long one?
Yeah. That's a
Nice.
ride.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it.
Good luck.
June 17th, Turbo House. Played there. Great spot.
Shout out Turbo House.
Montreal. June 18th, Ottawa. So our friend in chat. See you at the House of Targ, which I've never been to. June 19th, Le Murdoch in Sherbrooke. Been there. Cool spot. June 20th, Ontario. Oshawa, Ontario. Never been. June 21st, the Cat on Q in Toronto. Maybe Many Stairs. I forget if that's the same place. day off, which I didn't know, on June 22nd. So I guess we'll do some Canadian things on that day. June 23rd, Hamilton, Ontario. June 24th, Windsor, Ontario. Thrown by our good friend Tyson Blast. Great chum. The great 1 foot Tyson. June 25th, Gulf, Ontario. And the last show, June 26th, in St. Catharines, Ontario. So it's just Ontario and Quebec. But we're covering a lot of Ontario on that tour, which will be good because gas is horrible, especially horrible up there.
Yeah.
So we are not upset. We will be doing a full Canadian at some point. Not this year, but hopefully in the next couple of years we will do one, because my first tour ever was a full Canadian coast to coast, and it was awesome. It was beautiful. Yeah, so that is the most immediate Cognitive stuff. We are writing for the next album.
Yeah, your Metal Blade debut. Congrats on that.
Thanks. Yeah, it will be our first with Metal Blade. They've been great so far, having us do our homework with things, which is great. Like updating the bands in town, which I thought wasn't really used that much, to be honest. And I go on there, and we have like 5,000 followers on bands in town, which is, I had no idea.
We thought it was a goofy little thing right before this tour and checked it out, and we had like 2,000 followers. We're like, what is this website?
Yeah, I had no clue that people used it like that.
It's great.
So, they got us to update that, which is good. They would like us to use Twitch. So I have nothing to plug for a Twitch because we didn't even think about getting that started. But for now, just watch Hath. Just watch Hath on Twitch.
We'll have you back when you have a channel. We'll come on your channel.
No.
All right.
If you want. Yeah. That would be sick. I won't host that because,
You buy a few colored lights and you're good to go. Don't worry about it.
Kermit will be there.
Hell yeah. You need a character. That's your Eddie.
Who's your character? We didn't talk about Iron Maiden that much.
We didn't. Next time.
Next time. We'll have our chum tattoos. We'll show off.
I'll wear an Iron Maiden shirt.
I was going to wear mine, and then, one of mine, and I thought the back was the front, and it looked really cool, and I put it on. I was like, oh, the front's the back. And then I switched.
Oh.
Listen to Dark Water's End. They're sick and from Philly. My favorite Philly band. Hath's from Jersey, so they don't count.
Yeah, we don't count.
But yeah, I'm in another band called Void Reaver. We have one single out on Bandcamp. It's called Galactic Equilibrium, if anyone wants to check that out. It's a demo, so it's like fake drums, but we play that song live. It's gonna be on the EP. Big things coming, as all local bands say. That should be out this year.
Get in on it now, because when they drop an album, you can be that guy saying, I like the demo more.
That's true. That's very true. And you probably will like the demo more, because I'm re-recording bass and it's not going to be as good. So I'll have that to look forward to. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can't talk about that fall tour.
Not yet.
Where I'll get shot. I have 3 snipers out there.
Yeah, Cognitive will need a new bassist again.
Rob, again. Rob's one of the snipers out there.
Yeah.
He's not an MDF. He says he is, but he's got his sights on me.
Yeah, he's trying to play you. He knew you were coming on. He's like, he better not say it.
Better not. I know he wants to. Not allowed. Pete knows. If you want to, get it out of Pete after the stream ends, Pete's just gonna air it out.
If we hit 1,000 subs tonight, I will tell you, we need about 980 more subs.
That's it.
Get on.
Not that many.
No, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. You all have Prime. You all have Prime. You get a
I didn't
free
even
sub.
see the chat. I purposely, because I didn't want to be reading it the whole time.
They were very kind to you.
Oh, sorry to hear that. You don't have to be.
But yeah, thanks for hanging. This is fun.
This is
I'm
sick.
trying to get back into the swing of pseudo interview podcast style. I don't know what you want to call it, but just hanging out. It's fun. I appreciate you coming on. I thought we had a great conversation.
This is awesome.
I don't
yeah.
care what anyone else thought about it. I had fun. Two bros just chumming down. Two chums just broing down. That sounds better.
Everything. We'll chum up and chum down anytime. And
Hell yeah.
Chumville, USA.
Hell yeah. Hopefully I'll see you in a few weeks at that Thank You Scientist show.
We'll plan it out, brother.
Hell yeah. Anyone watching, thanks for hanging out. This will be up on YouTube and probably early next week. I'm going to MDF tomorrow, so I'm not looking to edit this down anytime this weekend. But if you hung out, if you followed, if you subscribed, Cinnamon Bagel, North Truth, Zenny, Noodle Queen, Stone City, thanks for the follows and the subs. I really appreciate that. Tyler, you look great. You've been great.
You look better.
Oh, baby. Appreciate it. And everyone else, have a good one. Be good to each other. Drink some water. And, next month, I will have Tony from Inoculation on this. Hell yeah. I'm just cashing.
Nice.
I'm cashing in all my tour favors.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, that's sick. I don't even
So-
know about that.
Yep. Keep an eye out. We'll have Tony on to talk about Xeno guitars and how he got into building, because it is a wild story. Until then, have a good one. Tyler, again, thank you.
Deuces.
Hell yeah. See you guys.